Welcome back to Light Talk, where everyday people can share their own unique spiritual journey stories. If you have any stories you would like to share, email lighttalk423@gmail.com. And while you're at it, click on the like, share, and subscribe buttons down below. Oh, we have a guest for you today. I tell you, I can't wait to get started. So let's do it. So I'm going to hand the mic over to her. So go ahead and introduce yourself and let's go.
Oh, thank you very much. Lovely to be here. My name is Zahara Celestial, and I find that where I am on my journey now is I can't really relate to certain labels or names. Having said that, um, I'm a creative soul, and I love to bring forth in words, sounds, and image divine communication with all divine beings from different dimensions. That's always been my passion. Um, so yes, so that's that's my introduction.
Yeah, so go ahead and tell us a bit about how you got started and what got you started because you had been abducted. So let's go
um,
with that one.
yes, that's a big word and something. Yes. So the earliest memories I have as a child is that I knew past lifetimes, and I had a lot of um, activations, activity in the night. I did a lot of sleepwalking, what you call sleepwalking, but it was like lucid dreaming. Um, had a lot of visitations from a lot of beings. And I was aware that I was different from the rest of my family. I actually went up to my parents one time and said, "You're not my parents." um,
I bet they love that.
yeah, yeah. Yes. Um, so I had sort of inherent knowing that I was aware of a lot that those around me were not. So with regards to the abduction, um, there was a lot going on which um, it happens at night, and I had a phobia with Antarctica. The mere mention of the word Antarctica, but I didn't investigate that. And I went to many schools, and the second school I went to was a Catholic convent school, though we were Church of England Protestant. So that didn't help matters. um, and uh, on one occasion in the drama class, the teacher wanted us to reenact an experience we had. And so I started reenacting an experience where I was with a couple others. We're in little groups. And she saw that we were very animated. So I'm at the age of, oh, I don't know, 7 or something, or 8 years old. And so she's okay. She really kind of got very excited about what was happening, and they all seemed to be very engrossed because I was going, all right, you say this and you do this, and I was getting very, sort of very in it and very and so okay, so I remember us all getting on the stage, and she said, okay, right, start again and get everybody to stand, just direct everybody what you want to do. And it was a reenactment of being abducted. And I remember sort of very shortly in the whole process, because I had sort of my classmates standing in sort of being the alien beings, and those that are closer, and me on this lying down. And I remember her just screaming her head off, actually, and saying, just stop. She was absolutely freaked.
Oh, wow.
Um, so I then realized, oh, I'm not meant to talk about this. There's something, I've done something wrong. What have I done wrong?
Yeah.
Um, and I remember saying, this is real. I'm not lying. this happened, that did, and she just, the class ended. I was expelled from that school. They said I was following the devil. So,
Oh
um,
man.
yeah, so that's been a bit of a theme. So so that that is the clearest memory I have, other than having really strange sensations, energies in my body, and strange states of consciousness, of that being pulled into different states of consciousness that I didn't want to be pulled into. Um, so that happened as a child. I, being that all my psychic senses were very open. I continued to have curiosity about um, everything that was outside the physical 3D, because I kept on having experiences that were not the normal.
Not
Um,
human,
so
not normal. Or yeah.
so including fairy beings, as well as people who'd passed over. So yeah, so that's um, and so I didn't want to have, so I didn't want to have anything to do with any beings that were outside of Earth, because of that experience and having these weird beings trying to pull me into their dimension, um, and having that experience where others were freaked out. I mean, I knew I just don't talk about any of it. So when I started exploring it, right from the age of 18, um, different spiritual traditions and going to different workshops and classes, because I went to London to go to art college, um, any mere mention of anything extraterrestrial, I would just, I'm like, no, I'm not having any of that. Um, that has now obviously changed. I say obviously, but yeah, it has.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
has changed quite a bit. Yeah, definitely.
yeah, 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 yeah. So I was a very, and am a very, well, you could say, awakened being. And I think there's many different, or not, I think, I know, I have experience, and I hear from others too. There are many dimensions and many beings from the many dimensions. And so they have different intentions, like human beings do. And so I have met many beings with different, mostly with good intention. But I think that, I was all, you could say, all lit up from very early on. And so there was a lot of interest uh, in me, like there are with quite a few of us. And I've been piecing all the pieces together. And so I've only recently got to understand what it is that occurred to me, what occurred to me in Antarctica, because part of what happened was I just protected myself, I feel, from remembering more than I could cope with as a child, because there's a lot going on as a child that
Yeah.
was very traumatic with my parents, etc. So yes, and there's all soul divine choice with all of it, So now I'm very at peace with everything, and
Nice.
understand like a bigger, broader picture of, it was only like 6 months ago. I the second time I went did a sort of an astral past life, um, hypnotic, or you could say it's a shamanic journey. I went back so I've done it twice now, to go back to Antarctica, because I realized I needed to heal and get clear what went on to release that, because
Right, right.
it was something that was dragging me down, and I needed to let go of it. So I've because I went to a talk, I don't know, I think it was 10 years ago. It was a book festival in Wales, And I went with a friend, and she said, "Oh, I want to go and see this guy who's doing this talk." And I'm like, "Oh yeah, we'll go." I sat down, and he straight away had Antarctica, and I virtually had a panic attack sitting just the mere mention. I'm like, and I did sit there for an hour. I could have walked actually,
Right.
but I
That's
kind
a
of,
tough one, though.
yeah, I was frozen. Yeah. So anyway, that's after that I thought, okay, I need to sort this out. I need to figure what this is out, because it's not like a spider or snake, or it's it's not your usual thing, to be having such a, so I'm like, okay, there's something going on here. There's
Right.
something going on here. So that's that. When somebody uses the word abduction, to me, it has a negative. It might not be for everybody, but because I've had other experiences where, like one time, when this is more recent, um, where I was dreaming I was in a light spaceship and my whole body was vibrating and I was sort of hovering, and I was in a bliss state, the total like Kundalini, I don't know, awakened, alive state. And then I woke up, and then I was in the spaceship, and was it was all I was all light, and I was vibrating so much, and there was these. Well, I mean, they sort of like, they're not angels, but they had that high frequency, and it was so high, it didn't last for long, and they just went. So that I wouldn't even use the word abduction. That they are on a higher light frequency dimension, um, was very different to what happened in Antarctica, um, and that fills me with some sadness in that, well, it's part of the life of exploration we're having in creation, that it's two extremes I've had. One where there's such distortion, because when I went back, sort of astral travel, shamanic journey, hypnotic, whatever you want to call it, back to that time, because it exists, because
Yeah.
we're in quantum time.
Right.
It was
Right.
it was the greys with the humans that were experimenting on me. And then what they did, which was quite extraordinary, was they cloned me, mixed it with the grey genetics, and that a part of, like, a version of me was experimenting on me. And I'm like, that is
Mm.
really, I'm sorry to, that is very distorted. And
Yes, it is.
and then with that, I felt there was a gift, because the greys, when we say the greys, it's like there's something that's, the life force has been drained, and all I'm left with is compassion, because that was part of me. Or they tried to figure out where was the soul, and they tried to do manipulations, and I'm like, there's only one place I can go, which is compassion. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
And
That's
I felt
beautiful.
this angelic presence around me, because when I went and revisited that, I was revisiting the me, in an angelic frequency, watching um, this occurring. So when I went back again the second time, um, I was able to tune into that, because the compassion, because of the angelic frequency. And this is hard for the ego part, the human part, to understand, that we choose what we choose, and I chose that, and the bigger picture. Um, and I know I've healed across quantum time and parallel lifetimes. Um, Quantum, you could say it's future, past, because I've had experiences of time traveling, but what is time? So we're at this place now where we have been in the three, you could say 3D, where we
Mhm.
understand it existing in linear time, past, present, future. And because of all these experiences, and I've had many, many more, like you've had so many, many, many more, where I'm now, there's a bigger picture. There's a bigger picture I mean, one time I was doing a live, I was channeling the Arcturians on a live I was doing, a group live via Zoom. And they said, I was wearing a watch. I'm now wearing a watch again. But they said, throw that away. You cannot wear that on. You cannot wear it. Because I needed to understand, or it's not just understand, I needed to shift into a different frequency and not be attached to linear time.
I recently was hearing and reading about a bit of that. Yeah, where you can, you don't need a time. You don't need time because when you're in that zone, you just know when the time is. You just know when it's right to do something.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah.
So shifting out of that, you could say it's the hologram, it's the we have that phrase, time is money. So the whole system that is attaching limitation and dimensional ideas of that we're only limited to a single lifetime, that we're insular, we're singular, um, set parameters, work 9 to 5, all of that. And they said you got to detach from the idea of linear time in order to detach from the programming, the hologram, the inverted matrix, whatever you want to call it, and trust, like you say, that we will be in flow with our natural rhythm, and you will know the time. And we do. I'm like, we do. He's got, oh, I think it's about time now, isn't it? When I'm
Yeah.
like with somebody, or you can feel it. Um, so yes. Um,
Yeah.
so for for a while, I I hid that part. My whole, well, I had an outer body experience of going and out of my body and going up to heaven and feeling source, divine, all that is, which is beyond words, but love. And that was also during my childhood. And you realize that we choose when we live, when we die, everything. And I realized I could choose just to carry on and just leave my body, but I chose not to do that and come back. um and so for many years I worked very shamanically, very much with Gaia and this beautiful spirit beings, and including the fairy realm dimension, that was within Gaia, because I didn't want to go to the with the other beings. And then I had this experience of divine source and God. Um, and it was in 2012 that I went on my own vision quest to a mountain in Wales that's it looks like a volcano with a lake in it. I totally got led to it. I never heard about it before, um, and while I was up there, you climb it, this beautiful walk going up this woodland, this waterfall walk, and then you get high up beyond the wood, and then there's this massive stone that's like it feels to me a whale guardian. And then you get this lake, and there's a bit of a stone that you can lie on that juts out into the lake, and this whole other dimension universe came in with massive golden beings. These golden beings would be the size of the planet. Um, and I thought at the time, that's not heaven. What on earth is this? It's not heaven, it's not God. But there's a lot of light, and the golden beings are part of the kind of structures that they're part of, and it blew my brain. It
Oh, I
literally
bet.
blew my circuits.
Couldn't
So
imagine seeing something like that. Oh my goodness.
yes, because I couldn't quite understand also how you could have two universes in the same place.
Right.
Never mind
Right.
about the big, massive golden beings. And so when we talk about extraterrestrials and abductions, it's like those are quite. I understand why you said that. So there's no criticism, but they're quite clunky in a way, words that we
Yeah.
use. Because and it's like, would you call that an abduction? I don't know, because it's just like suddenly I'm in this whole other dimension. I didn't take anything. By the way, I don't need to take anything. Um, and so yes, anyway, I'm sort of going all over the place. But that blew me open. 2012 was a year where a lot of people had so there was something aligned and signed up for that a lot of our souls were awakened to the galactic, the multidimensional, the seeing beyond the hologram, and I was one of them. And there was many of us, many more that don't even. I think more will be getting in front of the camera and sharing. So there's I would say there's thousands who would have had those certain experiences in 2012, and so it was only until 2016 that I began to meet people that were talking about stuff that beyond the shamanic or whatever, the angels or fairy or um yeah. So yeah.
What an experience. I mean, wow, what a pleasure for us to have you on the show. Oh my goodness, for the experiences you've had. And you haven't even started with your experiences. Or you haven't even started. You've got so many of them that we can have
Yeah.
a whole series of you just alone.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that's just amazing. I mean, to have those kinds of experiences, and I agree with you with the abductions and stuff like that. I can see where that is gives a negative tone to it.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, I can see how that works, and like I'm trying to say ETs or even changing that. I'm trying to work on
Yeah.
putting it into the other beings or a different being instead of ETs
Yes.
because
Yeah. It
even
has a.
ETs is starting to feel like a negative
Yeah.
sense to me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just amazing. I'm getting chills.
Yes, that's it. It's interesting to. Well, it's lovely. Trying to find the words to be sharing this here with you because I feel we resonate, and it's obviously divine timing. Because I've had lots. I mean, I'm 50. What am I? 57. So I've been around for a while in this human lifetime. Been aware of a lot since a child. So because I'm now getting a really bigger, broader picture, because I have experiences when I'm awake, I have experiences when I'm in dream state, I have astral, I'm in lucid, I have through the different ways of consciousness that I have had experiences. And so I've come to a place where really relived was the galactic war, where in one dimension, during one time, Earth was destroyed, and I relived that and woke up so thankful that we're all here.
That would be a
Then I was
scary
thankful.
thought.
Yes, then I was thankful that I didn't go crazy.
Yeah,
Then there's a lot of thanking and gratitude for aware that um, I'm ready to receive that information. I've gone through a lot. Um, that doesn't have to happen. Um, and yeah, it doesn't have to happen. Um, there's so much beauty here. There's so much light. It didn't bring me down. I was aware that I need to speak about this because it's an unconscious collective fear, which the density, the inverted matrix pulls at humanity, this dread, this fear. And if we speak about the shadow aspects, the darker aspects, illuminate them, they do not have, they don't haunt us, then, and we're not haunted. And then we're sovereign, and we're illuminated, and we have choice. And again, I was full of compassion and love. And you know, maybe you've had this experience, but when you have a remembering, either in a dream state or a waking state, you know it's true. So to have had that reliving of that, and know that we're here, that didn't end everything, because source God is bigger than everything. We are part of that. Um, um, and so I'm seeing my life, which is sort of this size, in the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And so throughout, there's been pivotal times, like 2012 was they went boom. Or feeling, I mean, part of the healing for me is releasing the lack frequency, not enough. And it's being so reenacted at the moment. Not enough fuel, not enough food, isolationism, that whole polarization, and having these huge experiences. I know that's not true. I know
Yeah.
that, I know there is abundance there. I mean, I've had angelic experiences with angels. They intervene, and they've been doing things. I've even had sessions with people. I had a session with somebody, and this angelic wing literally went whoosh right across the camera. A big wing. It was captured, like boom. Um, I mean, it is wonderful when we have these experiences, you know, when it's like that. So I feel very gifted, um, because I've had a lot of these experiences. And I feel because of that, people will know that for me, they're true. They'll feel the truth of that, though. They'll feel the resonance of that from their heart, not just as ideas and I'm telling stories. This is profound for me. This has been this is life. And
Yeah.
um and I know a lot of us are now saying we want to live this life, not pretend it's not happening, not pretend to squeeze ourselves into the inverted 3D matrix way of being. That we are in a bigger, it's so big. It's not just we're the earth and these ETs come and visit. This is vast, vast, vast,
Yeah.
vast, vast. And this is,
Yeah.
we're moving into being able to hold that more and more, despite the energies that are trying to pull on us. And yes.
It's so amazing. And you have a way of telling this story that it's just the love comes out. And like you're saying, you, when you're telling these stories, you know they're real because of the way that you say it. It's not like, oh, guess what happened to me, type thing. Your energy is in your stories, and it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And you are welcome to come on the show anytime you want to talk about all of your stories.
Oh, great. I'd love to do that. Wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Come back anytime you want.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, we could talk about any of this because there's so much to tell. So
Yes.
much.
And I feel, yeah, there's a power with this is we are all storytellers, and there's a power in telling our story that we got it goes to alchemy, which then very Jungian, then Joseph Campbell. It's been, and also the indigenous peoples always told the stories, like the Bible's full of stories, stories, stories. That's part of creation. And the journey that our soul chooses, and the richness of that, and the diversity of that, the magic of that, the beauty of that, the knowledge and the gnosos that comes through that. um in, and so we grow and we evolve through that. When I had a communication, I knew who they were immediately, the Arcturians. I love the Arcturians.
They
They
sound
are so
fabulous.
they're so full of humor. And I mean, I am so grateful for um, being receptive to hearing guidance from these different ascended beings. They're in a higher frequency, in a light frequency, and they're telepathic. And so when something rings true from the heart. So they've come in and gone boom boom and said things. And so I had a lot of guidance before COVID came in, a lot. And I was
Nice.
like, right, yeah, okay, thank you, okay. Because they went, I'm like, right, oh God, what's happening? Shit. Right, okay, right. I'll just carry on doing what I'm doing. Okay, thank you very much. And they just told me enough that I could then grab hold of it and then have an anchor. Wasn't too complicated. It was, this is who you are, this is what you're doing, this is what is true. And I felt it. I'm like, I'll just keep that. And they made it very simple. And then the angel said it's a time of illumination and revelation. Boom. And I'm like, that means, oh my God, everything's going to be illuminated. Oh my God. I really felt it when they showed me. I'm like, this is going to be like, really, oh God, this is biblical. Oh my God. Now I'm really, I each year I'm like, okay, this is it. This will, then it's like, no, there's more. they go, no, there's more. I'm like, oh no. So I get told enough, just enough, so
Yeah.
that we have free will. Um, uh, yeah. Um,
Just
so
enough to keep you excited for what's coming
yeah,
up next.
exactly. Yeah. So mostly, yeah. So it's interesting that yeah, I had that first experience as a child, and then felt at home with Gaia, felt at home with the fairy beings, with nature and spirit beings in that way. Um, and yeah, that's it. We're in a different. We have shifted dimension. The whole collective has.
Yeah.
It's a different world now.
Yeah, it is. Well,
Even time.
I'm sorry, I would love to bring you back on and chat more about the fairies and some of the other things that you've described here. So if you wouldn't mind, let's get together again.
Okay.
All right. Yay. So yeah, everybody knows what's coming up. Woo-hoo. Okay. Well, our time is just bound up, sadly enough, but we'll get together again. We're going to have some more conversations. And if anybody out there has any stories that you would like to tell about anything out there that just seems out of this world or anything, uh, get a hold of me. Email me at lighttalk423 at gmail.com. And while you're at it, click on the like, share, and subscribe buttons and hope to talk to you soon. All right, everybody. Glad to have you on the show, and we welcome you back anytime.
Thank
And
you.
we'll see everybody later. Bye.